Would you still rise if no one was watching? Keep your struggles sacred. Quiet battles build real strength. Let your actions speak, let your silence teach. Today, choose growth in private and power in peace. Your struggles are sacred, own them quietly. Every battle you face, every hardship that tests your spirit, is a sacred chapter in the story of your becoming. These struggles are not punishments, not proof of weakness, and not something to broadcast for validation. They are divine invitations to grow, to see yourself clearly, and to build strength that can't be shaken by the opinions or expectations of others. When you choose to own your struggles quietly, you step into a space where transformation becomes pure, untainted by noise, distraction, or performance. Silence becomes your sanctuary, a place where growth happens away from judgment, away from the spotlight, and deep within the heart. There is a reason the strongest people often move in silence. They understand that pain is not for display, it is for development. When you keep your struggles sacred, you protect the meaning of what you're going through. You give yourself room to feel without explaining, to heal without defending, and to rise without applause. The world often misunderstands what it cannot see, and the moment you expose your hardships to it, they become subject to interpretation, criticism, and even comparison. But when you hold them close, they remain what they truly are, personal lessons meant only for you. Quietly carrying your struggle allows you to understand its depth. It allows you to ask the right questions. What is this trying to teach me? What strength is being formed in me through this? How can I rise from it wiser than before? Growth that happens in public often becomes distorted by perception. You may begin to perform progress instead of living it. You might start seeking comfort in attention rather than in truth. But growth that happens in silence has no audience, no timeline, and no need for validation. It is real, raw, and deeply personal. It happens in the moments when no one else is watching. When you are sitting with your pain, understanding your patterns, and slowly learning to turn wounds into wisdom. That kind of growth builds a foundation that cannot be shaken because it's not built on applause, but on self-awareness and endurance. Owning your struggles quietly is not about hiding. It's about honoring the sacred process of transformation. It's about knowing that strength does not always need to be loud, that healing does not always need to be seen, and that silence is often the most powerful response to pain. In quiet ownership, you learn to rely on yourself. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you, and instead learn how to stand firm in your truth. You find your voice not in words but in resilience, not in explanations but in perseverance. You begin to trust your own journey even when no one else understands it. There is power in not telling the world what you're fighting. When you carry your pain privately, you remove the need for sympathy and the distraction of external opinions. You no longer waste energy explaining yourself to people who may never comprehend your depth. Instead, that energy turns inward, fueling healing, clarity, and growth. You start to realize that your peace is more important than being understood, and your strength is more valuable than validation. Every quiet victory you earn adds weight to your spirit and confidence to your soul. You don't need to announce your storms when your calm speaks louder. Silence refines you. It makes you patient, disciplined, and grounded. When you no longer need the world to witness your struggle, you stop performing and start evolving. You begin to walk differently. Not because you're pretending to be strong, but because you've discovered what real strength feels like inside. The struggles you face become sacred not because they are easy, but because they are transforming you into something greater. They are purifying your intentions, deepening your understanding, and aligning you with your true purpose. So, hold your battles close. Guard your pain like something precious because it is. It is shaping you in ways no one can see yet. Let the world see your peace, not your process. Let them witness your transformation through your actions, not your explanations. True strength doesn't need to be announced, it reveals itself in time, quietly, gracefully, and powerfully. Your struggles are sacred. Treat them as such, own them quietly, and let your silence become the sound of your strength. Growth in silence builds real resilience and clarity. When you choose to grow quietly, without broadcasting every step or seeking validation, you enter a sacred space where transformation becomes genuine and lasting. Silence is not emptiness, it is depth. It is the soil in which strength takes root. In that stillness, where there are no opinions to influence you and no applause to distract you, you meet yourself fully. You see your weaknesses without shame, your fears without denial, and your potential without arrogance. In that honesty, real growth begins. Not the kind that looks good to others, but the kind that changes who you are at your core. The world teaches us to be loud about progress, to announce every move, to prove that we are improving. But real growth doesn't demand an audience. It thrives in silence, away from performance, where lessons are learned through reflection, not reaction. Silence allows you to listen to your intuition, your emotions, your mistakes. It's in the quiet moments of solitude that you truly understand what needs to change, what needs to stay, and what must be released. Growth that happens in noise is often shaped by pressure and comparison. Growth that happens in silence is shaped by truth. It is guided by the voice of your own soul, unfiltered and undisturbed. Resilience is built in these silent battles. It's not built in moments of attention or recognition, but in private trials, when you choose to keep going even when no one knows what you're facing. Every tear you wipe in silence. Every night you push through the pain without telling anyone. Every time you pick yourself up when no one is watching. You are strengthening your spirit in ways that will serve you forever. Silence teaches endurance. It forces you to rely on your inner strength instead of external encouragement. It shows you that you can survive without being seen, that your worth is not tied to anyone's awareness of your struggle. Clarity also comes in silence. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop defending your choices or proving your worth, the noise fades and the truth becomes clearer. You begin to understand what matters, who matters, and where you are meant to go. Growth in silence removes distractions. It helps you separate the real from the irrelevant. You start to recognize the difference between what feeds your soul and what drains it. Silence gives you space to think, to process, to rebuild. It becomes a mirror that reflects not what the world sees, but who you truly are. When you are growing in silence, you are not concerned with opinions or timelines. You learn that becoming better is not about being seen doing it. It's about becoming more aligned with your purpose, your peace, and your power. You learn to appreciate progress that isn't visible yet, to trust the process even when results are not immediate. You begin to understand that growth is not a performance, it's a process of becoming. And that process often requires you to retreat from noise, to protect your focus, and to listen to the whispers of your own soul instead of the shouts of the world. In silence, you also find humility. You realize that you don't need to announce every victory or explain every failure. You start to find satisfaction, not in showing others that you're improving, but in knowing within yourself that you are. That quiet confidence is powerful. It doesn't need to be validated because it is built on truth, not perception. And that's where real resilience comes from, knowing that even in the absence of approval, applause, or acknowledgement, you are still growing, still moving forward, still becoming stronger. Growth in silence teaches patience. It reminds you that flowers do not bloom in noise. They grow underground, in darkness, in stillness, before they rise into the light. You are no different. The world may not see your transformation while it's happening, but that doesn't make it any less real. One day, when your results speak, they will tell the story of your quiet perseverance, your unshaken focus, and your faith in yourself. So embrace the silence. Let it mold you, guide you, and ground you. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your process. Keep building in private. Keep growing in peace. The clarity you gain and the resilience you develop in silence will carry you through every challenge ahead. True growth is not noisy. It is subtle, strong, and sacred, just like silence itself. Keep battles private to protect focus from noise and judgment. Not every struggle is meant to be shared, not every hardship deserves an audience, and not every challenge needs validation. Some battles are meant to be fought in silence, because the noise of the world can distort the meaning of what you are going through. When you share too soon or too widely, you open the door to opinions, criticism, and confusion that can cloud your clarity. But when you keep your battles private, you protect your peace. You allow your energy to stay centered on healing, learning, and growing, rather than defending, explaining, or justifying. Privacy is not secrecy, it is wisdom. It is the choice to honor your process by not exposing it to those who may not understand it. When you face life's storms quietly, you give yourself the gift of focus. Every distraction you eliminate becomes energy you can use to rebuild. The world is full of noise, people who talk but don't listen, who judge without knowing, and who project their fears onto others. If you let that noise into your space while you're fighting your inner battles, it can pull you off course. It can make you doubt yourself, question your instincts, or even give up too soon. By keeping your struggles private, you shield your journey from those external interferences. You give yourself room to think clearly, to make decisions based on truth rather than reaction. Silence creates focus, and focus creates strength. Judgment often comes from misunderstanding. People see your situation from the outside and form opinions, without knowing the depth of what you're enduring. They may mean well, but their words can wound more than they heal. They might tell you what they would do in your place, not realizing your path is different. When you share your pain too openly, you allow others to project their limitations onto your story. Their advice, criticism, or sympathy can become mental clutter, blurring your sense of direction. But when you keep battles private, you stay connected to your own intuition. You learn to trust yourself, to make choices guided by your own truth, not the noise of public opinion. There is also a deep dignity in privacy. When you fight quietly, you demonstrate strength without needing attention. You show resilience without needing reassurance. You no longer chase validation because you realize that peace is worth more than being understood. Private struggles build independence. They force you to rely on your own judgment, to face fear without applause, and to find comfort in solitude. That's where maturity is born, in moments where no one else can help you, and yet you find the courage to continue. Keeping battles private also protects your emotional energy. Talking about pain too much can drain you, turning reflection into rumination. Explaining your hardship repeatedly can make you relive it, rather than rise from it. When you choose silence, you redirect that emotional energy toward recovery and growth. You begin to heal instead of seek sympathy. You start to move forward instead of being stuck in the story. Privacy allows healing to happen in peace, at your pace, in your way. Discretion is a form of discipline. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to express and when to preserve. It's realizing that your battles are sacred and that not everyone deserves access to your process. Silence is not weakness, it's protection. It keeps your spirit guarded from the noise of those who don't carry your pain, from the opinions of those who don't understand your path. When you fight privately, you give yourself space to fail, to learn, and to rise without fear of judgment. You no longer perform progress, you live it. Growth is pure when it happens away from attention. It's easier to reflect, to adapt, and to rebuild when no one is watching. Privacy gives you freedom, the freedom to evolve without commentary, to fall without shame, and to start over without being defined by others' expectations. You begin to understand that the only opinion that truly matters is the one you hold about yourself. Every victory you earn in silence becomes more powerful because it was won through your own focus, faith, and determination. So keep your battles private. Protect your focus from the world's noise and your peace from its judgment. The quiet moments you spend rebuilding yourself will one day become the strength others admire. You don't need to explain the storms you've survived. Your calm will tell the story. Silence doesn't mean absence. It means presence. It means being so centered that the outside world can no longer distract or define you. The battles fought in private create the strongest warriors, the clearest minds, and the most unshakable hearts. Choose action over complaints. Results speak louder than words. Life rewards effort, not excuses. The world doesn't remember those who constantly talk about what went wrong. It remembers those who did something about it. Complaining may feel like release, but it steals your energy, your time, and your focus. Every moment spent complaining is a moment taken away from growth, progress, and solution. The truth is simple. Talk changes nothing without movement. When you shift your focus from expressing dissatisfaction to taking purposeful action, everything in your life begins to move forward. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the architect of your future. Complaints are easy, action is discipline. Anyone can point out what's wrong, but it takes strength to face it and do something to change it. Complaining often comes from frustration, from the desire to be understood, but understanding alone never brings transformation. What brings transformation is movement, decision, and persistence. When you take action, even small steps, you redirect energy toward creation instead of stagnation. Complaining keeps you trapped in the problem. Action frees you by making you part of the solution. It's through movement that confidence is built, and through effort that growth begins. Results have a power that words can never match. You can tell people you're working hard, but when they see progress, they believe it. You can speak about your goals endlessly, but when you achieve them, your silence becomes your statement. Real strength doesn't announce, it demonstrates. The most inspiring people aren't those who talk about their pain, but those who turn their pain into purpose. Each time you choose to act instead of complain, you take back control from negativity. You prove that you are capable, focused, and resilient, even in the face of difficulty. Complaining also invites negativity into your life. It makes problems feel bigger and solutions feel impossible. The more you talk about what's wrong, the more power you give to it. But when you act, you shrink the problem's hold over you. You begin to see that what once felt overwhelming can be conquered step by step. Complaining feeds helplessness, action feeds strength. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who move forward isn't intelligence or luck. It's the willingness to take responsibility. Those who act, win. Those who wait for change remain waiting. Choosing action over complaints also shapes your mindset. It trains your brain to seek opportunity instead of obstacles. You begin to see challenges as teachers instead of punishments. Each setback becomes a lesson, not a limitation. Action is momentum. It builds upon itself. The more you do, the more capable you feel. Complaints, however, breed paralysis. They make you dwell in what can't be done instead of exploring what can. The moment you stop complaining and start working, you create a new reality. One where progress replaces pity and persistence replaces pain. People rarely respect words. They respect consistency. Words may inspire for a moment, but results inspire for a lifetime. When your actions align with your intentions, you no longer need to prove your worth to anyone. You become a living example of what discipline, patience, and effort can achieve. The world listens to the language of results. It sees change, it feels impact, and it understands growth without explanation. Every goal achieved quietly, every improvement made without announcement, adds to your credibility far more than any words ever could. Action also brings peace. Complaints create chaos in the mind. They keep you stuck in frustration and comparison. But when you take action, you focus on what's within your control. That shift from talking to doing brings clarity. It reminds you that your power lies not in what you say, but in what you do about your situation. Even the smallest progress, one step at a time, begins to rebuild confidence. Every effort compounds, turning motion into momentum and momentum into mastery. So, the next time you feel tempted to complain, pause and ask yourself, what can I do instead? Can I take one step forward, however small? Can I turn my frustration into fuel? Because that one act of effort is worth more than 1,000 words of frustration. People may doubt your words, but they cannot deny your results. When you choose action over complaints, you silence doubt both within yourself and from others. You rise above excuses and let your progress speak for you. In the end, noise fades, opinions change, and words are forgotten, but results remain. Let your actions tell your story. Let your consistency be your voice. Because true power is not in talking about change, it's in becoming the change. Emotional control, patience, and humility create unshakable strength. True strength is not found in loud displays of power or in the need to prove yourself. It is found in quiet composure, in calm endurance, and in the grace to rise without pride. The strongest people are not those who never feel pain or anger. They are the ones who know how to manage those emotions without letting them dictate their actions. Emotional control is not about suppressing feelings, it's about mastering them. It means feeling deeply but choosing wisely. It's the ability to pause before reacting, to think before speaking, and to act from wisdom instead of impulse. This kind of control doesn't come naturally. It's built through struggle, through moments when you had every reason to explode, but chose peace instead. Every time you stay calm under pressure, you prove to yourself that your emotions work for you, not against you. Patience is the twin pillar of emotional strength. It's the quiet understanding that everything valuable in life takes time to grow. Healing, success, love, wisdom, all of it. Impatience is the child of fear and doubt, but patience is born from faith and understanding. When you are patient, you trust the process. You stop rushing your growth and start respecting its rhythm. You realize that just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Patience teaches you endurance. It teaches you to keep working when there are no results, to keep believing when there is no evidence, and to keep walking even when the path is unclear. Every person who has ever achieved something great has had to master this art of waiting with purpose. True patience is not passive, it's active calmness, the strength to stay steady in uncertainty without losing hope. Humility ties it all together. Without humility, strength becomes arrogance, patience turns into pride, and control becomes manipulation. Humility is knowing your power but not flaunting it. It is the wisdom to realize that no matter how much you grow, you are still learning, and no matter how strong you become, life can still test you. A humble heart listens, adapts, and learns. It doesn't need validation to feel valuable. Humility allows you to accept correction, to forgive quickly, and to serve others without seeking recognition. It's not weakness, it's maturity. It takes more courage to stay kind when you are powerful than it does to show dominance. True humility is the quiet confidence that doesn't need to shout because it's secure in who it is. When emotional control, patience, and humility come together, they create an unshakable foundation that no storm can destroy. Emotional control keeps your mind clear, patience keeps your journey steady, humility keeps your heart grounded. Together, they form a balance that allows you to handle life's difficulties with wisdom instead of panic. When chaos comes, you don't crumble, you observe, you adjust, you endure. When people provoke you, you don't react, you respond with clarity. When success arrives, you don't boast, you remain grateful and composed. That is unshakable strength, to stay centered when everything around you demands a reaction. The truth is, strength without control is reckless, strength without patience is fragile, and strength without humility is empty. Emotional control allows you to choose peace over pride. Patience allows you to keep moving without losing faith. Humility allows you to stay true without being consumed by ego. These three traits make you powerful in the quietest, most lasting way possible. They don't make you untouchable, they make you unbreakable. Because no matter what life throws your way, you don't respond out of fear, you respond out of mastery. The person who can stay calm in chaos, wait without complaining, and rise without bragging is the one who truly owns their strength. They move through life not to prove, but to improve. They understand that control, patience, and humility are not signs of submission, they are signs of evolution. To reach that level of mastery is to live with peace, to lead with grace, and to inspire without trying. That is the kind of strength that endures, the kind that no loss, no insult, and no storm can shake. Private perseverance becomes lasting power, revealed through outcomes. The most powerful transformations in life don't happen in front of an audience, they happen in silence, behind closed doors, in the moments when no one is watching. Perseverance is not about being seen working hard. It's about continuing even when there's no applause, no recognition, and no visible reward. When you persevere privately, you are not chasing approval or validation. You are driven by something deeper, a commitment to your purpose and a belief in the person you are becoming. That kind of perseverance builds strength that cannot be shaken because it's rooted in authenticity, not attention. Every unseen effort, every silent struggle, and every moment of discipline you sustain in solitude adds to the quiet foundation of your power. Private perseverance is sacred. It's the decision to keep moving when the world is silent, to keep believing when results are not visible, and to keep fighting when there's no one to cheer you on. It's easy to stay motivated when people are watching, but real strength is proven when you continue even in isolation. The nights you work in silence, the days you doubt yourself but keep showing up, those moments are building your resilience more than any public victory ever could. When you persist quietly, you train your mind to focus on progress, not praise. You develop inner discipline that thrives without external validation. That's where lasting power comes from, the power to endure, adapt, and succeed regardless of recognition. When you persevere privately, your growth becomes pure. It's no longer about performing success, it's about embodying it. You're not rushing to prove anything. You're focused on becoming everything you are meant to be. Private perseverance allows you to fail without fear, to learn without pressure, and to evolve without judgment. It gives you the freedom to make mistakes, to start over, and to grow in your own timing. Public eyes can add unnecessary weight to your process, but when you move in silence, you are free to grow at your natural pace. Each failure becomes a lesson, each challenge becomes fuel, and each small step forward becomes proof that you're still in the fight. True power doesn't announce itself. It's revealed in outcomes. The quiet hours of effort eventually manifest as success so undeniable that it speaks for itself. People may not see your struggle, but they will see your transformation. They may not hear your plans, but they will witness your results. That is the beauty of private perseverance. Your actions become your voice, and your consistency becomes your evidence. You don't need to explain how much you've endured. Your calm, your confidence, and your achievements will tell the story. The world respects results, not excuses, and the results born from silent persistence carry a strength that cannot be faked. Perseverance in private also builds character. It teaches patience, humility, and endurance. You learn to wait for the right moment instead of forcing progress. You become more focused on the work itself rather than the recognition that comes from it. In solitude, you refine not only your skills but also your mindset. You realize that true power is not in being seen, but in being steady. When your motivation comes from within, it lasts longer than any applause could ever last. You begin to rely less on the approval of others and more on your own sense of purpose and direction. The results of private perseverance often surprise even you. One day, after countless hours of silent effort, the breakthroughs arrive. Opportunities begin to appear. People start to notice the changes in you, the calm confidence, the quiet excellence, the undeniable progress. What seemed invisible becomes visible. But by then, you no longer need recognition because the work has already transformed you from within. Your power has become internal, unshakable, independent, and lasting. Private perseverance turns you into someone who doesn't need to talk about strength because you embody it. You don't need to convince anyone of your growth because it's evident in your actions. You've learned that real power doesn't need attention to exist. It simply endures, and eventually it shines. The work you do in silence builds a foundation no storm can destroy. And when the results appear, they reveal not only what you've achieved but who you've become, someone powerful, grounded, and unbreakable. True strength is not built in the noise of the world, but in the silence of your own perseverance. The quiet moments of struggle, the unseen efforts, and the private battles you fight within yourself are what define your character and shape your destiny. Growth that happens in silence creates resilience that lasts a lifetime. When you choose action over complaints, patience over frustration, humility over pride, and privacy over performance, you align yourself with real transformation, steady, grounded, and enduring. You don't need to prove your strength, you need to live it. Let your results speak, let your calm reveal your power, and let your silence tell your story. The world may never know the depths of what you've endured, but that doesn't lessen the greatness of your journey. What matters is not who witnessed your pain, but who you became because of it. Keep your struggles sacred, your patience firm, your heart humble, and your focus unwavering. The strength built in private becomes the light that shines in public. Real power doesn't demand attention. It commands respect through results. So move quietly, grow deeply, and trust that in time, your perseverance will reveal everything that words never could.